Today, I want to go into my top 5 gaming projects that I'm looking at. Now, it's mid August, and I feel like the dominoes are setting up for a massive crypto bull run. And right now, the prices are still juicy. This is the best time to really be digging into your research. And I know a lot of people are exhausted from the crypto winter. That's just why most people don't buy when prices are boring. And prices are boring. And by that, I mean prices are down. There's not a lot of searching going on for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency. Nobody's talking about it except the few that are here that are smart. And it makes a beautiful time to be here. Now, I want to ask you, what brings you to crypto? Why did you click on this video? It's because you realize blockchain gaming is the future of gaming. It's likely that you're looking for solid projects to invest in because you want those crazy, sick, life-changing gains. Yes, I said life-changing. Now, I know many of you are happily married, and so for you, your wife will change as she has life-changing experiences with you and a lot more excitement when you take her on some amazing trips with fun hotels and exciting restaurants and experiences. And I guarantee you it will change her, and that will be a good thing. For those that are single, well, money does influence your ability for mate selection. Now, if you, like me, you're looking for great blockchain gaming projects, I'm going to share with you my thoughts on some of the top ones that I think have amazing potential for this coming bull run. Some of my biggest gainers last bull market were early blockchain gaming projects, but that was only round one. This round is going to have much better games built by fantastic teams with amazing backgrounds in the gaming industry, and many of them have team members with amazing background in the blockchain industry. And it's going to be exciting to see where these go. Welcome to the Crypto Rain channel and our family. If you're looking for crypto news without context, or you're looking for FOMO or panic selling, you can find that in so many places, but you can't find that here. If you, like me, came into crypto because you realize the potential for life-changing gains over a 4 to 8 year period, and you're looking for discussions on becoming a solid, unshakable crypto investor, you are exactly in the right place, in the right family, the Rainmaker family. And I see many of our family already here in the chat. We've got Mickey, the G, Vivi Avatar. We got Blowbot, Terry, and Blob. I hope Cornucopia is still in the top gaming projects on your radar. S3YU says Copia is awesome. Well, the reason I created this channel is because I was once new to crypto 6 years ago. And back then I was looking for a crypto channel or a network or group that understood crypto as an investment and discussed important things like investment cycles, projects, but not just shilling projects. They would talk about the pros and the cons of those projects. What are the risks? What are the guesses upside if it came together well? And I didn't really find a good network for that. So we created it. And I say we because it isn't just me anymore. It's a lot of our Rainmaker family, and they're here in the chat. They're also in our free Telegram group. The link to that is below, and you will definitely find them in our private exclusive Patreon group that allows you access to our Rainmaker private Discord. And this is where the best discussion and the best info is. There are other benefits too, but you will have to join us there to find out. I also released a course called Zero to Crypto Hero. And the reason is did you know, I've been in crypto for 6 years now. This surprised me as I watched it happen. 95% of people don't become rich even if they get into crypto. This is specifically what the 5% do in my course that the 95% don't do. I've seen several people get rich in crypto, and I've seen a whole lot not do very well. In fact, many of them selling at losses. It is very expensive and extremely expensive to miss out on this course. So don't miss out on it. Do note, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a crypto investor myself. I had 20 years background investing prior to crypto, 6 years in crypto now. I'm laying out for you what I like, why I like it, but you still get to do your own research. If you haven't already, make it rain on that like button and strap in for the show. I get the question all the time, Rain, what blockchain projects do you like? Well, a lot of them. As we can see, Globalitarian Blob is mentioning Cornucopias, and I am a big fan. I own a metric ton of land in Cornucopias, and I think it'll do well. This isn't one of the games I'm going to talk about today, but it doesn't mean I don't think very highly of it. I do. The price, unfortunately, has been buoyed up extremely well because they've done really well. So the ones I'm going to mention today, they're at even cheaper prices. But do I think Cornucopias is going to do well? I think they have one of the best chances. And I think they might have a chance of sneaking on by with a better metaverse than the two other big metaverse projects out there. So do note that this coming bull run, I think these ones are going to do tremendous. That is if they survive. And they probably won't need to try to survive and stay above water too much longer. But realize I always look at things and realize that they could fail. However, in these, I will make the case on these ones I really, really like and why. Do note, I was an early investor in Axie Infinity and Gods Unchained, and I made incredible gains in this blockchain gaming narrative. And this narrative is still so very early. We have not even seen that the blockchain and true ownership will take over the gaming industry like free-to-play took over and dominated the gaming industry. But that is what's going to happen. This idea of ownership is going to rule gaming in the coming 5 to 10 years, and blockchain gaming brings that. We can see that the market is hungry for this true ownership. So Counter-Strike Go items, we can see them where there's a 10% Counter-Strike Go fee for selling and a 5% Steam market fee just to sell, so a 15% fee. And they don't even truly have ownership. If you get your Counter-Strike Go account shut down, you lose control over those items. And I don't even think you can remove your funds outside of the Steam ecosystem. So it still is trapped equity. And yet, even with that, $30 billion has been transacted on Counter-Strike Go items. Now, with that 15% fee, that means between Steam and Counter-Strike Go, that is $4.5 billion in revenues from that $30 billion changing hands between people. Yes, you heard that right. 30 billion with a B. Now, that is incredible. That is the kind of thing that gets game makers' attention. However, the next evolution of that is true ownership, that you can remove those from the and put them on your own wallets and truly own those items. Because right now with Counter-Strike Go, you don't truly own those items. So this 4.5 billion in revenue from just the secondary sales, plus their initial loot box sales, this is the kind of revenue gaming companies dream of. Can you imagine where this is going to go in the future? The kind of revenues that are coming into blockchain gaming are going to be far and above bigger than what gaming companies can even dream of now, even though they're starting to see it with what CSGO did. Now, I'm probably preaching to the choir here because you clicked on this video and you probably know, just like I know, where this is going. And yes, you are right. Blockchain gaming will dominate. What we're looking for is projects that might do a 40x, 100x, or if we're really lucky, 3000x like Axie Infinity did from where I bought it. Now, don't let your expectations get crazy. 3000x is not a normal thing. It may not even happen this cycle, but we're in a place that it could happen. Can you say that about stocks? Can you say that about any other industry you can think of? Well, this is where research comes in. With good research, you can still see into the future. Well, you can't see into the future, but you can make more educated guesses. And the better you get with getting educated, did you know that the better your guesses and picks are? So let's get into it. Do note Gala is absent from this. Gala has made some disastrous decisions as of late. They seem to me greedy, disastrous decisions, in my opinion. I used to hold Gala. I have sold it all. Watch my brother On-Chain Gaming, who has unfortunately removed some of his videos on it, but has detailed out the mistakes of Gala. and then had his account shut down with massive assets in them, his Gala accounts, when he was giving critical feedback to Gala. But they didn't really like it, so they shut his account and his family members' accounts down based on what he said. So I am absolutely staying clear of that train wreck until I see massive change. But if they continue that path, I don't see how they don't sink themselves. I don't want them to. I've long been a big fan of Gala. They're just going some weird ways that I think are short-sighted. So my number 5 pick is a Coinbase. But you're thinking, wait, that's not a blockchain gaming company. Yes, this is true. It is a digital collectibles company. But think about the CSGO skins as digital collectibles too. And so that is why OMI is included in this. I have a huge amount of OMI because I believe strongly in this project. It is massively discounted right now, though as of the last 2 days, it's not as massively discounted as it was over 2 days ago. I don't know about you, but I love buying cheap. And it's a combination of what I feel its potential is combined with massively retraced prices that have made me include it in this chart. Now, unfortunately, I definitely would have included cornucopias if their price had been as cheap as it was earlier this year. Absolutely. Because price is a factor because I'm an investor. Now, I've been an investor in a Coinbase since 2018, and its future seems brighter than I ever imagined when I saw their original pitch deck. They have the top first appearances from many Disney, Marvel, DC, and other massive brands in augmented reality collectibles on their VV app. The VV community is strong, vibrant, educated, and a lot of fun, giving this project one of the strongest communities in crypto. They have the first Batman on the blockchain, the first Joker, the first Superman. If you know collectibles, you know that firsts matter. Now, do we know for sure that VV is the biggest digital collectible app down the road? No, we don't know that. But we do know that those who get there first usually become the biggest and the best. And they have a massive lead over their competitors, and their token price has been massively savaged as they had some tech team difficulties and didn't staff up as soon or as fast as many of us would have liked, causing a lot of people to get frustrated and dump their tokens during this last bear market. Let me share with you, well, I first want to say thank you to all those who dumped their tokens at the bottom. I appreciate it. I have been dollar cost averaging into it for a long time now. So with all my heart, even you VV YouTubers who decided you were too frustrated and giving up and capitulated right at the very bottom, well, thank you to you. For me to buy really low, it takes people selling at lows. You would like to think it wouldn't happen, but because as human beings, our natural inclination is to sell at lows because we fear it will go to zero. And then our inclination is to buy at all-time highs because we think it'll never stop going up. That leads to some amazing opportunities, and you would think it wouldn't happen, but it does. Now, previously, the price was all the way down here, and it was so juicy. It is still so extremely juicy at 0.082 cents. Their overall market cap is 215 million. I think this is a market cap that can go into the tens of billions of dollars. It's not quite as cheap as it was. It is still massively below this 0.01 cents or 0.1 cents mark. And so I still think it's an amazing price. Now, what will happen from this? We do see this long base. Sometimes you do see it go up in price and then come back down. I have no idea if that's going to happen. Sometimes it does that. Sometimes it doesn't do that. They just released some news related to their master collector program, and that if you're a master collector up to 10,000, or excuse me, holding up to 10 million in your wallet, will increase some kind of rewards. So that just came out, and therefore the price of the Coinbase ran, because one of the big things they've been missing is a use case for their token. And a lot of people couldn't look down the road and say, well, there's no use case now, but there will be, and they're developing it, and they're hitting all the milestones to develop it. So people were saying to themselves, I'm going to buy Omi's token when there's a use case. Now, I'm an investor, and as an investor, I like to buy it low so that I can sell high. But if you wait till after the use case is apparent and it's out, well, is the price still going to be low, or won't it be much higher? So what I do as an investor is I look for problems that are going to be solved that aren't solved yet. That's why most people don't have the vision to see that, and that's why the price is so low. And then I hold it while that vision gets realized, and then everybody who for some weird reason thought it would be smart to wait till all those things are out, well, now they're buying from me as I'm taking profits and selling at massive gains. And that's what helped me retire at a young age 2 years ago when I retired after just 4 years in crypto. Now, I hope a lot of you can do the same thing in 4 years or 8 years. In fact, I created this channel hoping that I could help people miss some of the mistakes I made, because even with the 20 years background in investing, I still made a lot of mistakes when I was new in crypto. And the course I also created to help you forego those mistakes, because boy, I would be so much farther ahead had I not made many of those mistakes. All right, so wanted to catch up on some of this in the comments. Bill Gardner. Hey, what's up, Bill Gardner? S3YU. Thank you, brother. Love you very much. Gosh, all these amazing people in the chat. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. That's a great question. Godwin. I don't know how to zoom farther in like that so that you can see it better. It is best watched on a computer so that you can see better, but I know many people watch on their phones, so I will try to describe where the price action has been so that you can, when it gets into technical stuff like that, you can understand what I'm trying to describe. So I want to get into my number 4 pick. One of the top upcoming games on my mind is Cetus. Now, I met Dan, the CEO of Cetus, through a closed Telegram group of some top industry people, and we agreed to meet up at NFT NYC last year. I was already aware of the project and watching it, but after speaking to Dan and learning more about his vision, I thought, this is a guy who is going to drive the long-term vision of this project and make it happen. He eats, sleeps, and dreams about what he is doing. And that is the tenacity I like to see in a CEO. And that's the tenacity I see in most teams that are massively successful. Now, he's young. Well, I mean, he's in his 30s. So to me, that seems young. He's driven. He's got good contacts and connections. And they're building a complex space game that will have all kinds of moving parts and allow companies to create the things inside of their metaverse game. Now, I've long felt that there was a strong need for a company to create an ecosystem where other people can make money within the ecosystem, helping build it out. I'll share with you how powerful this is. Apple allowed developers access to their programming base and their app store within their iPhone ecosystem. This used to be a new idea, and the idea was massively successful, allowing other companies to come in and build within their ecosystem. It was massively successful for these other companies. It was crazily successful for Apple because of their exorbitant 30% fee. Well, similar to how that happened within a phone industry that nobody had even imagined prior to that, that kind of thing is going to happen within metaverse and gaming environments. And this is part of the plan that Cetus is working on. As their bigger game gets built, the Cetus team has also released for us 2 smaller games to allow engagement and also allow you to earn towards bigger goals while the larger ecosystem is developed, which helps because in the crypto space, it's really hard to be patient and good games take a while to build. So it's a very smart move for them to give us something tangible with these 2 games, just so there's something to play and they can actually start to build a player base. Now, I want to share with you what's going on with it and the price action. All right, so for whatever reason, Just getting blank screen there. Here's their website. It is a pretty complex website. There we go. Amazing website. As you can like move your mouse cursor and it zooms in like this. Cool, very graphically done website. Let's jump over to, this is important. And I'm not going to show you the games, but this gives you an idea of what some of the things are. Like you can play their game and you can invest in some of these different modules. And as these modules make money in the future, you will make a percentage of that revenue. It's an amazing idea. I love it. And so I invested in some of these. I think the shipyard and the marketplace, some of these collections are already completed that you can't invest in them anymore. But this is one to really check out. Let's check out their price action. So price action is really, really important to me. And what I see in crypto winters is this nice bottoming pattern. And I was as excited as could be last crypto winter because I knew what the future most likely looked like, which was, what follows massive retracements? Well, eventually it turns around and you have massive gains. And so in 2020, I was as excited as I could be. I was trying to earn as much bonus money as I could from my job, and I was putting every cent I could into crypto while it was cheap, while all these other people were feeling disillusioned and not putting money into crypto. Me and a select number of people that also thought like me, like I didn't have to convince them to think like me. They already thought like me, because everyone who didn't think like me, well, they wouldn't listen to me. I would try to share with them and they just didn't even want to talk about crypto. So I was like, well, I'll just prove it. And I invested as much as I could. I squeezed my expenses down as low as you could get. So no Starbucks coffee, no like other things. And like that $10 could go so much more meaningfully in this, because gosh, it's not like I don't love spending. I love spending. I just love spending a lot more. And I knew if I invested that money well now, it could be worth so much more in the future. And that is exactly how it played out. Well, if you're looking at the chart, this forms a nice little W pattern. And notice the bottom of a W pattern, which usually signals turnaround, is that the other time it doesn't go quite as low as it did before. So here we had a little bit lower low, and it couldn't ever quite get to that same bottom. And so we have this very, very nice basing pattern on their CDIS token. Do keep in mind they have two tokens. They have the Senate token and the CDIS token. Now, if we're lucky, this is what a Comey's price action will do, that it took off. So notice it was all the way down here at 0.08 cents, and it went all the way to 0.3 cents. And now it's all the way back here. Now, thank goodness it came all the way back here. You can literally buy for 1/3 as cheap as you could here. Not that this was a bad price. This is just so much better of a price. Let me share with you what the price was once at, goodness gracious, 18 cents there. So it's had a massive retracement. On log scale, we can see it a little bit more clear. Massive retracement. We have this nice bottoming W pattern. This is juicy. And this is why I see this had to be on this list, because I love cheap prices on projects that I believe in. This is a project I believe in right now. One of the important metrics on this, I always look at their market cap. Their market cap is 8 million. If this project is successful, it can go first into the billions and then the tens of billions of market cap. How long will that take? Well, I can't say I know, because space games done right take a while to build. Although when we have the massive rains come in the upcoming bull market, you will see massive increases on things, even games that haven't fully fleshed out everything. I made so much money on Axie Infinity land, and the land wasn't even usable within the game yet. So do note that things can pump tremendously if they just have a good position of their development within that greater bull run. So do note that their fully diluted market cap is almost 30 million. So that means only a fraction of their supply is in circulation. It looks like about 1/3 of their supply is in circulation. So, in fact, a little under a third of their supply is in circulation. That's all right. A lot of this will be vested over time. And even at the $30 million market cap, it wouldn't be the end of the, wouldn't be a deal breaker for me. But this is so much more juicy. Under $10 million market cap for a game that I think has amazing potential. All right. Is it true that Gala is probably building the best gaming platform? Good question, Kristen Mejia. I think they were. No, I don't think they are anymore. They made this decision to try to capture 85% of the value within their ecosystem. That is a terrible, disastrous, greedy decision, in my opinion. Now, maybe my understanding on that is wrong, but you see that in their Spider Tanks NFTs that they sell that are so expensive, it takes you forever to recoup the value from those. And you see that in most of their stuff when they release stables in their whatever the game is. They sold off stables, and it kind of led you to believe that like you had to have stables to get horses or mounts in the game, is kind of what the implication seemed to be. And then later they sold horses. And it's like, well, what about all your people that bought stables? You just threw them under the bus. And I don't like those kind of decisions. And there's just too many of those decisions that I think are short-sighted. And they say, oh, well, game development is expensive. Yes, it is a tricky balance. You have to balance getting the revenues you need for the game while not throwing your investors under the bus. And I feel like the investor has been thrown under the bus and then run over and then run over again. And I'm not interested in a bus driver who's going to accidentally run over them, but then back up on them and go over them again. So Gala is left off of this. And that's all I have to say about Gala. Now, maybe they will change course. They had the best position to do something good here, and they're ruining it. Could they turn around? Yes, but they better start making better decisions fast. Or they will just get passed up by all these later competitors who are more nimble and going to provide a better ecosystem that people can do well in, and they're going to take care of their investors better, and they'll grow a better community because of it. And with that, one of the competitors on Gala's heels that Gala is going to lose to, in my opinion, is Myria. Myria is my number 3 pick, and Myria is a behemoth that hasn't taken flight yet. And some will say, but no, the token price is just going down. Well, yes, the token price has mostly been going down. And that is because the sale of nodes has created a situation where tokens are being vested every month, and we're in a bear market. And buy pressure is presently low. That guarantees a decrease in price until the buy pressure exceeds the sell pressure from the node holders. Now, the real reason is buy pressure will turn around because it's not going to go down forever. But a lot of people that are new to the space don't realize that. Now, Myria could fail. Billionaire investor Jonathan Teo, who is heading the project, could lead this to a failure, but that wouldn't be my guess. Bear markets are when I look to see if the work is being done that will lead to massive things in the future. I wish I could say I had deeper insights into what exactly is going on at Myria. I've spoken to Aubrey at Myria, and we're trying to line up a live interview in the coming weeks so we can get a better feel of exactly what is happening. Though they do have a good social media presence, and they're putting out a lot of news. I like to ask the deeper questions, so the news that they're putting out is helpful, but I would like even better insights personally. As an investor, I like to know as much as I can so I can make the best decisions. I do know that Myria, and I like this, has been onboarding hundreds of games into its ecosystem. Now, some of these games, many of them are probably not going to be successful. But the fact that they can attract so many different games, and it's hard to tell which ones will be massively successful, but they're providing the ecosystem, the layer 2 that's having all these, and they're making some solid steps towards becoming this behemoth. The greater question as an investor is, will it get there? Well, I believe so. But I can't say I know for sure, just like I didn't know for sure back in 2019 when I was investing in Axie Infinity. I just knew that for me, it was an investment I was interested in making, and I liked their chances. Now let's take a look over at Myria's information and just let me share with you some deeper insights on it. So you might be hearing the lawn cares going out back. So if that noise is driving you nuts, my apologies. So first of all, here is their chart. And so here's when the token first launched. And yes, it decreased as a lot of token node holders were selling their tokens. And look at this, though. It seems like this nice rounded bottom that is now possibly turning to the upside. Even today's price is higher than the lows it hit back in mid-July. And so it might even be having more buy pressure going on now than sell pressure. Interesting, right? So I'd hoped it would come down even cheaper, but these are the real numbers I look at. Now, this market cap is only, realize about 8% of the tokens are in circulation. 75 million is the fully diluted market cap, meaning if all the tokens were in circulation right now, that at that present price, this would be the market cap. So that gives us an idea that just 8% of the tokens are in circulation, and that's something I keep a careful eye on. But a lot of these tokens are going to vest over the coming 5 to 8 years. And so I don't see that there's going to be massive increases in sell pressure of the tokens because massive token unlocks. And for a project of their capacity, $75 million fully diluted market cap seems to me to be really, really cheap. A little bit about them. Many of their team have come from these major players in the gaming space: Ubisoft, Activision, EA, Blizzard, Marvel, Riot Games, Gameloft, Epic Games, and even some from Goldman Sachs and Tencent. A little bit about their games coming up. Let's see. There we go. So they have a block royale game that Myria itself is working on, but they have a Zone 9 survival that someone else is working on. See all these other ones developed by other players. Mr. 360 Cricket. That'll be interesting if a good cricket game comes in, because around the world there are massive people interested in cricket, though I don't understand the game all that well myself. And then it's hard to tell which of these are going to be successful, wildly successful, a little bit successful, or not at all. But this is the kind of thing you want to see within an ecosystem, is tons of experiments happening within it. How many apps have been successful on the App Store? Well, tons of failures and some massive successes, making Apple rich. Well, this makes Myria the place to be and the place to go to. Bill Gardner says, Earth 2. I have not followed Earth 2 really closely. I know Randy, one of my good friends, Randy Chavez, has followed it really closely, and he's massively invested in it. So Earth 2 is not on this list. Let me just check up on some of these. Christian Mejia asks if Sandbox is not, they're a metaverse, and gosh, they're the second in probably passing up Decentraland as the first big player, but still the number of users going into the Sandbox is still infinitesimally small, which leaves an opening for a really good video game that has a metaverse side to it, like Cornucopias, to possibly even pass up Sandbox. Do I know that will happen? I don't know. Yeah, I know, Bill. You and Randy are total OGs in it from, I think, way back when it launched in 2021. All right, so that is a little bit on Myria. My next one I want to bring up is Devio and their game Litcraft Experience. Now, Litcraft is another one of those games that gives me flashbacks to the evolution of Axie. Right now, I have not seen a single blockchain game with as much of an ecosystem and development that allows so much specialization within the game, and it is truly ahead of every game out there. I remember when Tom, the CEO of Devio, that I know very well, I'm an investor in the parent company Devio, and then they asked me to be an advisor for their Litcraft game. So realize I'm biased to this. But when they showed me the alpha, I was blown away. I said, there is nothing in the blockchain gaming space that has near as much development, even if the game's released, than where your alpha is. As much specialization, as much other things. I was like, how long have you been working on this? And he said, 4 years. We used it as the test for our blockchain because their blockchain can do 8 million transactions per second. I didn't say that number wrong. 8 million transactions per second. Now, a lot of people aren't following Devio and their blockchain yet because it doesn't have a token released. And I think a token will be releasing another month or two, so that then people have something to invest in. Because what's weird is when there's nothing that people can invest in, they have a hard time grabbing onto it because they can't buy it. So Devio, their blockchain, has had that problem, though it's faster than anything I'm aware of in the crypto space. In fact, when I first heard that they could do 8 million transactions per second, I told my friend, that is impossible because I haven't heard of them. And of course I would have heard of them if they could do 8 million transactions per second. But I tried to keep my mind open enough to, well, maybe there's a situation where I just haven't heard of them and they really can do that. And so their blockchain speeds have been verified by Accenture's blockchain group. And so, yes, it can do what they say it can do. And yet a lot of people aren't aware of them yet. I later learned it's because they didn't have a token, because when you share with people a project and there's no token to invest in, it really doesn't get any traction yet. And it kind of like bounces off an invisible wall. It doesn't sink into most people's minds because there's nothing they can buy. So they just say, well, when there's something I can think about, token I can think about, then come back to me. Well, Litcraft has this development that I think is amazing. But what can you invest in now? Well, you can possibly buy their Genesis land or their Genesis lit pets through their marketplace Glassblock. And I want to share with you because there's a couple. Now, right now, people haven't really caught on to this game. And this is the game. So this is litcraft.com. And this is the game, gives you an idea. And they must have bought the .com because I think it used to be at litcraft.io. But this gives you a little bit of insight into it here. I don't have the game pulled up, but they will have it mobile friendly as well as you can play it right now on your PC. Here is their marketplace, glassblock.io. And these are specifically their lit pets. Now, keep in mind, Axie Infinity did an early sale of Axies. And if you were lucky enough to get a Genesis Axie, well, those did really well. And I think the floor of them during the 2021 run was about 2 ETH, which was worth about $8,000 for a Genesis lit pet or Genesis Axie that probably cost you like 30 or 40 bucks. So not a bad ROI, about a 200x on those. Well, Litcraft has their Genesis lit pets. And so these are level 7. Now, one of the interesting things about Axie Infinities is that you didn't get any advantage for their Genesis sale. It was just cosmetic and it just had a label difference, but still they went to a floor of about 2 ETH, maybe even higher. I didn't follow those very closely because I didn't have any. But if you happen to get a mystic ability in that, the floor of that went to about 200,000 for one mystic ability, or a couple million if it had 2 mystic abilities. If it had 3 mystic abilities, like 10 million plus was the floor. And if there are a few that had 4 mystic abilities, and the floor for that was like $20 million for these Origin Axies, or essentially their Genesis Axies. So they did a Genesis sale a while back, and these are some of those that people got. And now they were selling for about $300 a piece. And so somebody is selling theirs. There's one at $100. I don't know enough to know how good this particular one is. Now, there are some people, if you go to the Litcraft Telegram group. People know like how good this is. It's a release 4. I think that has to do with how fast it comes out up. But this one is at $100, and the next cheapest one is $300. And now I got over 100 of the lit pets, and I only got 2 golds out of the 100. And now it's supposed to be about a 5% chance to get a gold, if I'm remembering right. I think it was 5% chance. And I only got 2 out of 100, but 1 gold is selling for right here for 1,500. Which silver, you have about a 20% chance, and the cheapest silver that you could get is 3,000. Now, do I know that these do well? Well, they'll only likely do well if the bigger game goes absolutely crazy. Do I know if the game is going to go absolutely crazy? I don't. I think they're positioned to. I think they have the right things. In fact, they even integrated something with release 4.0. It brings in like a Minecraft type situation that is phenomenal. You can build houses like you can in Minecraft within the game environment. I think they're massively innovating. They have the transaction speeds on their blockchain to be able to handle crazy things that most places can't even handle, those kinds of transaction speeds. Now, the downside is that it's not a permissionless blockchain. It's a permission blockchain. So they have to allow developers on it rather than permissionless like Cardano. Anyone can build on Cardano because it's permissionless. But specific to what they're doing, permission blockchains is most likely the way that most blockchain gaming is going to go in the future. For example, Immutable X is a permissioned blockchain. And they don't want just anyone building on it. They want to be able to screen their developers coming in and then allow them to build on it. So Devio is done the same way, though it has transaction speeds that are just unparalleled. A lot of people aren't aware of Devio yet. When their token sale goes live, we'll see how that goes and what kind of traction it gets. But they have the most amazing story with the fastest transaction speeds. I know Tom and the team behind Litcraft have greater visions for where they're taking this whole ecosystem. And that Litcraft and Experience is just the first of the different Litcraft games. And they want them to work interoperably with each other like what Illuvium does. All right. What about Star Atlas? That is a fantastic question. I think their ideas are really, really grand and big. I would love to see Star Atlas work. I'm concerned because that scale of game takes a long time to develop. And so their prices have gotten really cheap. I'm tempted. I just like these other ones better. And I was making a top 5 list at the prices. So if I did a top 10 list, Star Atlas would definitely be on there, but not in my top 5. Can anyone guess what my number 1 pick will be based on the ones that I've already shared? If you follow my channel, you probably have an idea for what I'm really a big fan of. Any guesses? All right, well, let's jump right into it. My number 1 pick for things where prices are at versus, so I'm always analyzing the risk to reward. So I like it when prices get really cheap on something I believe in. And my number 1 pick to talk about today is Illuvium. If you were a big, Sailing totally nailed it. If you were a big fan of Pokemon, you are likely going to absolutely love Illuvium. Not only does it bring many of the elements behind what made so many people love Pokemon, it's also doing something completely new with the 3 different games that rely on the other games within the ecosystem. So their team fight tactics game is dependent on players playing the overworld game to capture alluvials in order to bring those alluvials into the team fight tactics battler. The overworld, where you capture the alluvials, is dependent on fuel, which is collected through Illuvium Zero resources that are harvested in that resource harvesting game, which is done by those holding the land NFTs, who then build up their land to harvest as much fuel as possible. And you can also use that land to harvest blueprints so that you can make blueprint skins that can be used in the other two. Now, this new combination fostered by the innovations of NFTs is a new experiment in gaming, and I think it's going to be a highly successful experiment. Now, just because I was right on my Axie Infinity investments and Gods Unchained investments, don't think that I'm always right. I'm not. I invest in several projects that look promising to me, and that way I have some diversification because I understand a lot of crypto projects do fail. And we've seen some of that, even some of the ones I liked in this bear market go under. And that's okay, because if I diversify across a number of them, and say I diversify across 10, and let's say 2 absolutely fail and go to 0. So I lost 100% of what I put in there. But usually in crypto, they actually don't go all the way to 0. But let's just say they did. And they failed during this bear market. But the other 8 average 50x returns. And that means my overall investment portfolio did 40x within a 4-year time frame. Where in the world can you make those kind of returns anywhere? Well, this is what has me so excited about crypto and why I left every other type of investing I was doing to focus 100% on crypto, because this is the space to be. Now back to Illuvium. I've done a few interviews with Kieran Warwick from the Illuvium team. And if Illuvium isn't on your radar, I suggest you catch some interviews with any one of the Warwick brothers, whether they're my interviews or not. I think you will see why this one is so hot on my radar. Let me share with you a few things as I share my screen about the game. First of all, this is their site, and they have a DEX that has a marketplace. They have the token. You can buy it on links to these different places. You can buy it. It's now tradable on Coinbase even, which is nice. So those in the US can easily get this. Those outside the US, Binance, Kucoin are big favorites. Crypto.com, I think, also allows the US, though I don't know. I've not actually used Crypto.com. Community. So they have some helpful resources here. This gives you an idea. These are the integrating things. They've also integrated the Illuvium Beyond, that they're selling kind of a trading card game. I don't know that this one so much interoperates with these, but as these do really well, then this one has potential to do well because of the collectability of these cards. I don't own any of these. My focus has been on a few other things while the price has been down. First of all, this is the actual, it's not sharing. Let me share a different screen. There we go. All right, so this is the actual Illuvium Zero game itself. And you can see this is my tier 3 land. And these up here are the different fuels that you can harvest, that you can sell. Now, during the current, I think this is still alpha or maybe beta, you can actually get these blueprints. And these blueprints will, you'll be able to turn into NFTs. So I've actually been using my land to get the blueprints for these. And essentially you can get up to 15 per plot of land. And I've been going through my different plots of land and getting them. The tier 3 happens so fast because you get so much more resources. You have so much more resource sites. And so that one went really, really fast. The tier 1s take the longest, but even with tier 1s, you can get enough resources to be able to build these scanners. Then once you find some bio data, so I've got bio data on all 5 of these. So the scanners help you find the bio data. Once you find the bio data, you can come over here and you can research. You can choose which of these to research. That research will then find facts and blueprints. Sometimes it'll find nothing. And then these blueprints will be convertible to NFTs. So really cool way to do it. So the main purpose of this, though, is to generate this fuel. This fuel will then be sellable to like a DEX. So you'll be able to actually get revenues from harvesting fuel and selling that into the DEX. Players needing to or wanting to play Illuvium Overworld are then going to have to buy fuel from the DEX in order to play the overworld version of the game and run around capturing alluvials and battling. So this gives you an example. You're capturing an alluvial. Oh, shoot. It doesn't switch. Hold on. Sorry about that, guys. Let's see. I'm just going to share that screen, and it's going to solve the problem if I end up switching. Okay, so this is capturing alluvials, and this shows your little robot that runs around with you, your little drone. And when you win a battle, you can try to capture the alluvial like that. And there is a chance it'll fail. There's a chance it'll go through. That's how you capture them. This is an overview of the overworld. They will have some more land sales in the future. I did buy heavily the land, but I've been buying heavily the ILV token. And I wish I had more liquidity right now available because I love where the prices are at. So remember we talked about that W pattern. So you see this W, you see it not quite go as low as it did before, which means likely the bottom is in, and it might even be starting to climb up and over this. But this price, $48, is a price it probably never should have hit. And the only reason it does is because the pendulum swings too far in blockchain. The pendulum swings too far to the upside and then too far to the downside. And that's amazing for investors like you and I, because it means that we can buy super cheap and then we can sell for super high because the pendulum swings too far. Bill Gardner says all-time high was 2K, got to get more. I feel you. I wish I had more liquidity freed up. I made a disastrous mistake and I lent a couple $100,000 to a family member during the bear market. Not my favorite mistake I've made. And I'll probably not see that 200,000 back. Yeah, well, hashtag, retirement problems, right? So I look forward to people think when you do really well and you retire that you don't have any problems. You do. They're just different. And I think each of you are looking forward to the day that you get to experience those different problems because that's why you're here. And what I love about crypto is if done right, there's no better place to make gains you can't make anywhere else. I know. And I even knew that principle, Bill, and I still did it anyway. Yeah. Oh, well, whenever you lend money to family, you just have to assume it's gone. And that way it doesn't completely destroy the relationship. So, as one person said, money is familiar, which means familiar. Which if you lend money to family, you will never see them again. If you borrow money from family, you'll see them way too often. Yeah, once you come into money, everyone hits you up. I know. Well, they didn't use it very wisely, and so they don't have the money to really pay it back. And I had to make a decision on what to do with that. So maybe in the future their business is squeaking by and barely surviving now, and maybe it'll turn into something big, and maybe they will then later. We'll see. All right. That's where prices are at for Illuvium, and I don't think we're going to see these forever. As Bill brought up, their price hit almost $2,000, and it's been trading around under the $50 mark, which has been absolutely incredible. And it did this little run up in early 2023, all the way up to like $100 and pulled back down, creating this nice juicy chance to buy. Now I'm hoping Ecomi does that same thing, right, with its current run up, and that it will do this nice W pattern. It doesn't always. So it may have this little run and then come back as some people take the chance to try to exit at a lower price or a higher price than these lows. I hope it does. I would love for that to happen. And when it does, you'll hear people fudding on it, and they'll be saying, oh, look, it couldn't even sustain its price movement or whatever they say. Well, how do you think that W pattern gets formed except for that? And you saw that with Illuvium's token doing that W pattern, and this creates an amazing entry. Yeah, and then often it turns around and runs up. I don't know about you guys, but I am extremely excited for next year. Now, there's a slight chance that ETF approvals could get sped up. Say, what is it? The current lawsuit going on trying to convert their fund into an ETF. What if they win that lawsuit and then they're allowed to have a spot ETF? Then the SEC would approve all these other ETFs. And that could happen this year. Now, is it likely? I have no idea how the lawsuit is going, so I don't know. But even if it's not, like BlackRock insiders had said, that their ETF is likely to be approved in the next 6 months. And that will increase the amount of people buying Bitcoin tremendously, which will bring money to the market and people will start paying attention to Bitcoin. And guess what happens when they start paying attention to Bitcoin? They start then paying attention to other crypto projects and delving into the research. And so then that money first usually goes into Bitcoin, though sometimes it goes into some of the alts at the same time. And then the money flows into the whole ecosystem, and the whole ecosystem goes absolutely bonkers, with the best projects doing the best, but the whole ecosystem benefits. And that's what I'm looking forward to. And that's when the pendulum swings too far to the other way. So presently, everything's still too cheap, too undervalued, which is fantastic for us investors. We love this situation. We love when everyone else is crying about crypto because that's when we buy. How else do we get to buy low so that we can sell high? That's when we buy low. And then we wait and then we sell high. Well, if you haven't already, get my Crypto Zero to Hero course to walk you through how to think about crypto as an investment. I also want to thank our strategic relationships. We have two very amazing strategic partnerships with OneChain and Bumper. I get hit up for offers all the time. I tell them, no, hell no, F no. I usually am not mean to them like that, but in my mind, I'm saying F no. All the time. I'm really careful on who I will represent on this channel in any way, shape, or form, even as a strategic partner. They do give us tokens to give away. And this Friday, we will have our live stream. So join us for that. We will be giving away a lot of on-chain, a good amount of Bumper for that live stream. So little tip, keep up to date on their Twitters because that's often where I draw my questions from. And then the first person that gives me that answer is the one that wins. And we'll have like 500 won to give away, and won is trading at over, almost 30 cents. So that's like $150. And then Bumper will have 500 Bumper to give away. And both of these in the future, I think, have tremendous abilities. So what they are worth now is so much less than what I think they'll be worth. So I hope if you're the winner that you don't sell them at these prices, because on both those projects, they're great prices to be buying at, not to be selling at. Right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I know there were some recommendations wanting me to look into some other projects. This isn't that video. Join us next Wednesday with Paul. And we usually have some time to take some viewer suggestions, or join me for the live stream Friday. I'll often have a chance to dig into what's on your mind. I found that with our greater community, sometimes those suggestions key me into things that I haven't seen in a while, or things I haven't even seen at all. There are 20,000 plus altcoin projects, and probably double that now out there. I can't keep my eyes on all of it. Part of the reason I created the private Discord was to create a group of like-minded people that think this way so that we just miss less. Because I found even in the last bear market and the bull market that followed, I missed a bunch of things that I had my eyes on, but I was just limited to a small network back then of just a few people. But I was the only researcher really out of my group, so they keyed me into a very few things. I want to create a group of people that network really well together, that dig into research, and I absolutely feel that we've created that with our Discord. It's been amazing with amazing people there. All right, everyone. Yeah, Bill Gardner says we're all early. Let's get it. Just know that the crypto market, it's slow like this. It's near the bottom. Good decisions made during these next 6 months will likely lead to massive changes in your life, maybe even life-changing gains. Thanks so much for joining us. This wrap, well, you guys know what it's about. Hopefully it's a lot of fun for each of you. Thanks.
Came into the space chasing all of the gains, chasing the pumps and all of the hype trains. But like in life, shit, right before you could, was taught to buy when it was pouring like a rainmaker should. I buy when it's down, don't chase the boats that I miss, cause I always make the time in mind. I take the one out cause I'm patient like that, and I'll wait for the right time. I'll sell when it's high, I buy when it's low. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm just a rainmaker running the show. Calculated investments, I don't leave with my heart. Principles are simple, they're leaving a mark. Buy when it's boring, just gotta be smart. I sell when it's hype, like all the channels they pump it. That's when I was selling, go parabolic and dump it. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes the time fly by, years going so fast. The game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love, and I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. Time is never better, the time like the present. The next 5 years is a gift and it's feeling like heaven. I'm committed to learn, to study and to know that nothing comes easy, but with knowledge the game show. Sticking out this road cause soon will come a bear market. Learning and growing, and when it's slow will be the target. They say it's come out, Bitcoin is dead. The massive decreases can get to your head. Sticking around, the time is better. Strong like that, I'll let the others be fretters. 2 years time, the ball will bring back the gains. That makes it worth the effort cause here comes the rain. So let's go rainmakers, let's make it all happen. They go with the hate, say the haters be crafting. I'm here for 5 years, let's do this together. The time is right, the time could be better. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes the time fly by, years going so fast. The game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love, and I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. Haters be hating, the time to slow down. Addressing what they say when I'm wearing my crown. They're chasing green candles like someone who was new. I got a vision that was bigger, helping me to push through. I'm still human and sometimes it is rough, and that's what makes me special, simply I stay tough. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love, and I follow what I learn, not relying on luck.